welcome to Freedom. This is today's edition of the Inter-University Debates on Civic Space TV. I am Phillip Muliisa. Today, the debate is about traders, is about URA, is about this country, Uganda, and taxation. A few days ago, traders in the capital city of the country, Kampala, under their umbrella, Kampala Capital City Traders Authority, undertook a strike against what is proposed by the Uganda Revenue Authority to increase a series of taxes on goods, on commodities, on products, on buildings, on shops, on services that link to them as traders. And they say this is a situation they're actually uncomfortable with. It is too much of URA to ask them all these monies, yet actually in another kind of environment, they don't see what these taxes help them now. I was about to say beautiful, but I would say distinguished young people on this panel who are going to help me break down the taxation bit, what it is with Kasita, what it is with URA and government, and where they see this ending in a couple of weeks. I'll give a minute to each to introduce themselves, and later we shall go into the conversation. And I should start from my extreme right. Gentlemen.
Hello to the viewers. My name is Bushanda Godwin. I'm happy to be here on this show to discuss the topic of taxation. But before I begin, I really want to stand with our brothers and sisters in Rwanda who are celebrating commemorating the 30 years of the Rwanda genocide of 1994. It teaches us that we have to have the limit on humanity, and politics, extreme politics and propaganda shouldn't overtake the level of humanity in us. Otherwise, I'm happy to be here.
Thank you, and you're most welcome, Godwin. I'll go to the gentleman just next to me.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Phillip, for hosting us and the entire civic space. Well, first and foremost, I'd like to extend my condolences to the family of our dear comrade, Sarepero, who passed on. Well, it's sad news in this struggle as we are trying to liberate this country to have lost such a vigilant lady of valor. And we believe that the Lord will grant her eternal peace. Thank you.
Thank you. You're most welcome. And at Civic Space, we join the family and the entire community of Uganda in mourning the loss of that patriot. And we say, may the good Lord grant her a peaceful rest. Yes, lady.
Okay, my name is Sharon Karungi. I'm from Kyambogo University. I can say this is my first time here, and I feel grateful that I've reached here and hope for the best.
Yes, you're most welcome, Karungi, and feel at home. We can't wait to hear from the pool of knowledge you have. But before we get into the conversation, I want to especially welcome back people first from the Easter break. It was a beautiful break, and I see people here, the smiles, it shows they really enjoyed it. I also want to welcome back people from the Kaba they run. Thank you to whoever contributed to that cause. Thank you to whoever went in to run, to exercise, but the key cause is HIV, fighting HIV. We need to get rid of this beast, this disease in this country, and we can. You and I can. But also, I want to welcome back the community of Smagok from your annual sporting event, and in a special way, the TGT family. Thank you so much for being part of that activity. We love you, and we commend all the togetherness, the love, the commitment, and we can see you growing bigger and stronger and stronger. Gentlemen, I come to the conversation. Kasita, URA, taxes. First of all, I'll start with Kennedy. What is your general comment about taxation in this country?
Well, I would say it's good to pay taxes. Taxes run this country. Without taxes, Uganda would be a failed state. However, the issue is not about paying taxes or collecting taxes. The major problem is about how these taxes are used. the moment you give birth to a child, that child starts paying taxes. Even in its mother's womb, it pays taxes. That's how the system runs. However, when I pay taxes and someone is spending more than 200 million a week, they expect me to get that zeal, that morale to pay taxes again? No, people are frustrated. People want to pay taxes, but the way their money is used, it's not okay. It's not fine. People are hurt. People are tired. However, we need to make policies that control how our taxes are used. The IGG say that we lose 10 trillion to corruption. Whose money is that? That's your money. That's my money. Because the government itself, it does not have maybe a job that it will get all that money. So it has to get money that runs the government from the citizens.
Then their job is to get money from me and you.
Exactly. However, this money is spent lavishly, luxuriously. Recently, the Prime Minister and the Vice President had a diplomatic mission abroad. The lists were out, people that went. The Vice President had her team, and the Prime Minister had her team. Well, that was extravagant. We don't need such people because at the end of the day, the money they are using, the hotels they are sleeping in, they are paid using our money. Those are our taxes that we collect. And every good that you're buying, the taxes, actually, every good that you buy, you're paying tax. I personally, I've had friends that have had to close shop in Uganda and go abroad, look for better opportunities because of taxes. You start up a shop, TCCA is on your neck, URA is on your neck. And it's not that, these people pay VAT twice because there's withholding tax. Unlike factories don't pay withholding tax. So you find that a retailer suffers more than a manufacturer.
Thank you. Retailers suffer more than manufacturers. I want to come to you, Godwin. When you look at the tax regime in this country, the kind of taxes we have, he did mention a few: value-added tax, income tax, pay as you earn, etc. What is your general feel and reaction about all these taxes?
Philip, I want us that if we're having such a conversation, one, we need to have a liberal mind. Discuss. The problem I have is us discussing taxes, then we start criticizing the taxes. As well as understand that some taxes are high, but also we should understand why do we need taxes in this country. Of recent, the General Commissioner, or the Commissioner General to the URA, Mr. Rujochi, was saying that they contribute 12%, they have 12% to the tax burden and 14% to the GDP, if I can say. And they registered, of recent, they have around 4-point-something million tax-registered people who are taxed, who are registered in the register, 4.8-something million, in a population of almost 46 million, or 47-something. So the issue I'm looking at, the tax, just that the URA lacks the essence of how it maps out who is to pay the tax and when to pay it and who is not supposed to pay it. And in the due process, that's why you're going to find a lot of ruckus going on, and people are going to be complaining, I'm paying this amount of money, this is too much, this is too much. Because some people pay taxes, they don't know they're supposed to pay this amount of taxes. Even those who know, they want to avoid tax avoidance, and they don't want to pay tax, but they want to make a lot of profits. My brother is talking about how the government spends the money. Mind you, he must be informed that whatever, because very soon we're going into the new fiscal year, where the budget is going to be discussed. Actually, estimates are already on the floor of Parliament. I think they're meeting several agencies and government parastatals and ministries. And the ministerial statements are going to be read and the budgets are going to come in. And those, the Prime Minister or the Vice President or anyone else, they have the vote. The vote for how they spend on the budget vote. And if the government has budget, or that the Parliament appropriates actually the money that's going to be given to the ministry, I mean, it says you're going to have this amount. I want to make this clear. You see my brother here, I've been with him and wants to make all out of claims. And this Parliament, where he talks about, he has his people from his party, and all parties are represented. If the member of Parliament cannot see that actually this money, that now the Vice President has spent this money this time around, we need to reduce on the cutting from the budget, then I don't see the problem why we should again blame, because it doesn't make sense if people cannot stop how the money is spent in the first place before you budget for it, and then you want to complain after giving the money to such a person.
Thank you. I would really love to expand that debate, and we shall a little later. Let me come to the lady. Karungi. Taxes. You pay taxes. Are you aware?
Yeah.
What do you think about paying taxes?
Personally, I would like to first agree with that too. Yeah, taxes are something that all of us ought to pay, but it also depends on, yes, I've complied to paying these specific taxes in different sectors, but how are these taxes being used or utilized maybe by the government, and how are they benefiting me? At the end of the day, we all have a say of, we invest where we feel we are going to benefit. So at a point in time when people are paying taxes, or personally I'm paying taxes, but I'm not seeing how they are helping me, that is where it becomes problematic. In Uganda, yes, the issue of paying taxes is becoming broad, but the issue is, do people understand why they need to pay a specific amount of tax? Do people understand the uses of paying this specific tax? Or it is just an assumption that all of us are aware about a specific percentage that we are supposed to pay? Personally, I feel sometimes it's being overrated and not being brought to light at the end of the day, because people fail to comply because of the things that they are seeing in the government, the things they are seeing in the country generally. Because if they feel like I'm supposed to pay taxes in order for roads to be constructed, I'm supposed to get medication, because in the first place, this is why we pay taxes. I don't pay taxes because I want to, but I'm paying taxes because I'm going to gain out of them. So there, I feel like people strike or people decide to have that negative mentality. It is because maybe they are being overcharged on a specific amount of tax, or because they are not educated, or maybe the policies of these taxes are being complicity, like they are so hard for people to understand. But at a point in time when I'm being educated, yes, they may say we go to class and study, but it's different from me going to class and studying how taxation works and all that, but without knowing a specific amount that, oh, if I'm being in a business or a small business, I'm supposed to pay this specific amount of tax. But at a point in time when I'm earning less, but the amount of tax I'm supposed to pay is high, then it makes no sense to me to pay those taxes. This is why every time you're going to see people running away from specific taxes, because they feel like already the economy is constraining them or it's limiting them. In Uganda, we are not saying that we have the best economy and all that, but we also look at the value of money. So at a point in time when I feel if I'm earning something like 1M, but half of it is going to go to taxes, it doesn't really make sense. And I feel like the level of educating people about paying taxes is still very limited in Uganda. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I pick a few things from our submission. Education. First of all, tax is an investment you make and you expect to get something out of it, and I think it's a valid point. I want to come back to you. When you look at these traders in the city, I went through a town starting the other day. Shops were closed. People were very, very few in this city. The town was frozen. Nothing was moving, and I imagine when traders close shop, things are not moving, they're not sending in orders, then government is not collecting collecting at that particular point. There's nothing to collect because people are not working. Second day, the deployment in the town. If you went through town yesterday, you could see UPDF, Uganda Police Force, counter-terrorism, all these armed personnel in town, around shops, around the Chikubo area, everywhere. How best should traders send out their message if they don't have to strike?
Well, what I'm going to say, my brother Bushanda may say that I'm politicizing the whole tax thing. However, that's the best mechanism that now citizens have. You know, it's the only option that they have on the table. First and foremost, URA as a parastatal is trying to force things down the traders' throat, you know. And you know, I believe the best way to catch flies is setting up a honeycomb. So, traders are striking outside and closing their shops because it's the only thing they can do right now. They have nowhere to run to. Where are they going to run to?
They are officers of government. They could write petitions to Parliament. They could move to the offices of URA and put in their complaints.
This early morning, I was actually interacting with the chairperson of Kasita, and he was like, they've petitioned Parliament. Not once, not twice, not thrice. Even this today's plenary, they are taking a petition. But Parliament, obviously, what will it do?
They are Parliament. They make the laws.
Philip, I believe you've been in this country for so many years and you know how things run. And you realize that much as, even if you make many petitions, they're not, you know, heard. They're never given an ear. I personally, actually.
You see why I keep asking, why wouldn't they use another option? Shop is closed. Look at a situation where Ugandans now have nowhere to buy soap, to buy sugar, to buy key basics of life because traders are striking. Yet we would use a peaceful means of going to these offices and telling these people this is unacceptable.
You know, Philip, the citizens of this country have lost hope in the law, the rule of law. So, traders believe this is the best option they have on the table.
But there are systems that govern that. How do you lose the...
Godwin, if you allow me, let's talk about the striking. When you walk through a frozen city, nothing is happening. A capital city, remember, it's both our capital, both administrative and business, and it's frozen. People are not in the city. TVs are reporting there's a strike in town. There's deployment everywhere. People are even scared. This has an impact on our economy. Why wouldn't we use other means?
Thank you so much. I think this civic space.
Yes.
And we need, when we're debating, we need to elevate a certain level of debate.
Please.
I think currently we have around 3 bodies we have FUTA, we have Kasita, we have Kata, right? You know them.
I know them.
Yesterday, I went on the news, on the NTV. This is their message. They were asked why they're striking. They said we are striking because, one, they were saying that Kasita is now working with the government, that all the time they go there, they don't want them to strike. That's the first thing. That is from Kata. Now the FUTA and Kata, they're almost in the same category, and they were saying, why are you striking? They're saying, the problem we have is that we have IFRIs, which the people don't even know how to use. Even some of our traders are not educated. They don't know what IFRIs works, but then certain person asked them that, but we have had several workshops where URA officials come down to Chikubo to have a conversation with you on how IFRIs operates. They're saying, no, but they meet a handful of them, and they claim that they have met all of us. I picked 2 things there. And then is it the chairperson of Kata, one who said, we are going to make a statement. Kasita has always been organizing strikes and they have not yielded anything. They have not even striked. For us, we are going to, the only thing we are giving is a chance of ED season. After ED, we shall go back to strike. My question was, is the period of ED, in the period of ED, has the government responded to their cries? That's the first question. 2, if they are saying, are they opening shops in the season of ED, maybe to make sure that the Muslims and other people get where to buy goods? If those are 2 questions, then I have a problem. I think
you see,
there are a lot of, let me first finish.
Please, if
yes,
you allow me, it is
yes,
very important what you raise.
yes,
First,
yes,
you talk the strike. We are going to strike. Kasita is working with government. What is the cause of the strike? It is not Kasita working with government. It is government imposing taxes they think are too much for them to pay.
the taxes that I don't think actually, if you had and I know you had them speaking.
Yes.
The issue was not saying that maybe now VAT is 18%, they have increased to 20%. That was not the issue of the strike. The issue of the strike, there's one gentleman who was talking about the Chinese leaving their industries, or where they manufacture from, they go to retail, they are even becoming hawkers. That was their issue. They're saying now, they are losing it all. They are not seeing the essence of why they should be in business. They are losing it. I'm coming. The issue of the strike is not that they have increased the taxes maybe from 18% to 20%. That is not the issue. There are 2 issues which are hidden, and we need to go extra mile. If we are going to discuss this thing on what he has said, then we're going to lose the debate. They are striking when they're saying they don't know how to use IFRIS, and IFRIS maybe is having double taxation. That's what they say. There's a double taxation. But they're not saying that taxes have increased from maybe if it is VAT, because IFRIS is almost, it is so much entitled for VAT. Maybe from 15, maybe 18% VAT, then you go to 20. That's not their discussion. The discussion is saying IFRIS, what is doing is not seeing who is eligible for IFRIS. It is taxing even people who are not eligible for it. So it is an alarm. Many people are closing their shops. Some people are not making sales because for it qualified to pay for VAT, at least a year you must be making sales that are above 150 million. And the people of Kata and Futa, they're saying that there are some people who don't qualify to pay VAT, but they're paying VAT. So the discussion, the strike is not about the increase of the taxation. The strike is about the failure of URA to realize who is supposed to pay VAT and who is supposed to use IFRIS system.
So then if that is the issue,
yes,
URA doesn't know who to pay what and when. Don't they have a valid point in trying to say we are striking such that this URA gets to realize I am not supposed to pay, it is Godwin who is supposed to pay?
They have a valid point. But I wanted us to first leave the narrative saying that they are high taxes, that they are striking because of high taxes. No, that's not the issue. The issue, I think the URA, what is lacking to tell who is supposed to pay VAT and who is not supposed to pay VAT. But in a situation, my brother Muliisa, in a situation where Uganda is actually so much largely covered by informal sector. And every person who enters it, and informal sector businesses, they don't even pay taxes, some. And people, the URA is finding a very big problem to tell who is in informal sector and who is in informal sector. And what they do is they just rushed it. I heard the communication from Mr. Rujoche, the boss of URA, said, I think we made a mistake. This thing would have come later, I mean a few years back, but we are sorry we are bringing it this way. We were supposed to bring this, but COVID came in and had to halt it. But now here it is. If by the came with it to 2021, I think. So they were trying to, because the government first waived for those people, COVID and what, so they have just brought it. Now the issue is, where we should debate is, what should URA do to make sure that this person is valid for VAT and this one is not valid for VAT?
Do we have fair taxes in this country?
Yes, we have fair taxes. What is a fair tax?
Thank you.
You said there are principles.
I want to invite Karungi into that conversation.
Yes.
Let's talk these taxes. For example, when you go to the city, a trader opens a paper shop, and I'll stick to a trader. You pay first license fees to Kampala Capital City Authority. You pay URA, income tax. You pay still to KCC sanitation fees. You pay to the divisions, the councils. They also have another kind of vehicle trading fees or something like that. This is all money being taken from a trader. And earlier you mentioned how much is taken of your profit. He says we have a fair taxation system. He says the taxes are not high. Are our taxes low?
I'll still stick to Uganda. In the first place, we are using a broad mindset. We shouldn't personalize things. So I feel like the taxes for a trader in this scenario, all those taxes are way too much for this person to pay. For instance, this is not someone who is going to be earning large amounts of money every day or weekly. These are people struggling to make ends meet. At a point in time when you're imposing around 4 types of taxes on them, now this is why it becomes problematic, because the money they put into this business doesn't actually come out, because the money that would have been coming out is being taken into taxation on all those policies. And I wouldn't be so shy to say this, the biggest issue in Uganda is the issue of accountability and transparency. At a point in time when we are lacking that moral obligation of being transparent, let it be the government, let it be the traders. This is why people are, let's all understand why people are running away from paying these taxes, or maybe why these traders are striking. It might be the issue that he has talked about, but it also will also go abroad, because we look at a point whereby, yes, today they are striking about what he's saying, but after it is solved, what will then come up? It's going to be the issue of they are paying way too many taxes, and they are still not going to be given that accountability. Because as I already told you that we all invest where we know we are going to benefit. So this is why traders are going to strike in the first place, because they know they are putting in so much energy, they are putting in so much money into making their businesses meet or become successful in a specific sector. As I already told you, there are certain sectors that don't pay taxes. Yeah, the government just has that moral obligation because URA is under that body. But even so, does the URA know that these people are being inflicted? This pain that they are having, yes, earlier you asked, is this the biggest way to solve this problem? Personally, I feel them striking, there is something that has triggered them to go there. Maybe because I feel like by the time I strike in a university, it is because I've taken my matters to the guild and I've not done anything. I've taken it to Senate and I've not understood it or something. But even then, the issue is, has government, because I'm sure the bodies up there that are above URA have seen the strikes happening, but that moral understanding, that form of understanding between these two parties, between URA, the traders, and the government, has it really been into existence?
Look at this situation. URA is mandated under the law to collect taxes.
Yeah.
Number 2, government of Uganda needs money to undertake the activities of offering services to the people. Government of Uganda is in a situation where donor money is at its lowest ever since, and they need the money. And URA is under pressure to get money to finance the national budget. What is being discussed today in Parliament is to the tune of 58.3 trillion shillings, and we need to find this money locally. How do we balance having URA get this money but not being so tight on the traders?
Yeah.
And every Ugandan at large.
Yeah, so this is why I come back to his point of maybe these people are being overcharged on a specific amount of money, and maybe they are taxing the wrong people. This now doesn't become a problem for the government, or it doesn't become a problem for the traders. It becomes an internal issue for URA. URA has to sit and understand that, oh, we are supposed to put this VAT on a specific group of people. it is their obligation to go out there and find out who is eligible for this specific taxation. At a point in time when they don't do that, they are still going to have those very many issues that are going to be rising up, as he says, that people are going to keep on striking, because if URA itself does not know which body it is supposed to tax or which person is supposed to pay a specific type of tax.
You see, URA keeps saying they know who is to be taxed, but people are dodging the taxes. But number two, the biggest bit of Ugandans are in informal kind of businesses. We are farmers, we are, operating downtown by EDB commonly. And it is very difficult to track this kind of people. Feel for URA.
Yeah, I feel for URA, but then it still goes back to them. It is their moral obligation to make sure that Ugandans understand why they are supposed to pay taxes. You get? This is why I tell you that form of sensitization, you see, people will always give those specific excuses. In the first place, before you solve an issue, understand where it comes from. Why are people, yes, even those who are not in the formal area, will claim to be there, because they know at the end of the day, if they decide to be transparent about what they do, what kind of businesses they do, they are still going to get high taxes on them, levied on them, and it affects them greatly. But then why I say that URA, yes, we feel for it. Personally, I feel for URA because they have a big duty to do to make sure that people comply to paying these specific taxes.
Thank you. Kennedy, URA collects 70% of all tax money from the central region. Two, it goes on to tell us that 75% of total money collected, for example, last year they collected about 26 trillion shillings. It is 75% of that is collected from just 1,000 people, 1,000 businesses in this country, 1,000. And we are 45, 48 million people thereabout. Ugandans don't want to pay taxes. How do we get money to run this economy?
Well, let me scale it down. Let me scale it down for you. Currently, the traders in Kampala, they want to pay taxes. However, they didn't understand the whole IFRS system, how it runs, how the whole IFRS system runs. So, and I think, actually not even think, this is a fact. URA didn't communicate. As a country, we are grappling with technology. We have technological issues. We have not yet reached that standard where, few people even know how to use ChatGPT. Few people even know about it.
Even I don't know it. And is it a necessity?
That's the technological era we are talking about.
Of copying and pasting?
Not copying and pasting. Now, this is the mindset, by the way. As a country, we are grappling with many issues. One mindset.
You see, now what I sense from what you say is a combination of URA wanting to collect the taxes, but also having to address the issue of illiteracy. It is not the mandate of URA. What do they do?
The thing is, if you're to collect tax, your budget has sensitization. I've looked at the budget of URA. They have workshops and sensitization. What? You should come tell me what this system is going to do for me, instead of trying to, force it down my throat.
And the same URA says it is calling people to come and study about taxes, and people never show up.
The approach is poor. As you said, let me use the Uganda word by EDB. As a Muyiribi, you can't bring me Bushanda in a suit to explain to me the IFRS system.
I don't need
He would use a lot of English. Simply call these chairpersons, teach them. Use the local language they understand. Give them the facilitation they need. Let them go teach their people down, grassroots. But if you tell Kenneth, my coach, to go teach, I'll come with my English, just to feel the accountability, that I went there. At the end of the day, I'll sign that, I went there, told them this and this, but yet people have grasped nothing. So this is a weakness from the side of URA, not having to to communicate and sensitize the people about the free system. But people are ready to pay the taxes.
Thank you so much. Godwin, you know, he talks about technology, but also, if I detail it, there is a bit of mathematics and general literacy. For example, if you are to file your annual returns to URA, you need to be an educated person. If you are to use the IFRI system, I don't know whether you've interacted with it. It is a highly intellectual kind of system to interact with, and that's why you see that even people whose job is just that, I'll help you to file your returns, I'll help you to file, you know, to undertake your IFRIS registration and so on. And it's very wide. When you go to even these other parastatals and agencies of government, if you are to register a new business with Uganda, URSB, if you are to get a TIN number, I don't even know how many Ugandans have TIN numbers. If you are to register with NSSF, these are things that require someone to have basic intellectual knowledge. But look at our country, the education. How many of us are actually educated? We could have gone to school, but educated to that level to understand the technicalities in the IFRIS, in the filing of returns, in the studying of these taxation documents and the languages URA uses. You look at certain terms and you go, oh, what is this about? How do we help Ugandans?
Thank you so much. I think I don't know if it is a problem, but I think it is like, how can I say it? It's a paradox of this gentleman and the lady here. You see, they want services, again, they don't want to pay taxes. But they want services. And 4 point something million people, they are the ones that pay taxes, that are registered. Businesses, they are registered, they are paying taxes. But the population is 46 or 48 million. My brother here, Makana, wants everything at his table. He runs businesses. Ask him if he has ever filed any returns to URA. Muliisa, I'm coming.
Allow me a minute, because what you say is very important.
Yes.
They want services.
Yes.
They are not paying taxes.
Exactly.
But then that pushes us the direction of, okay, the little that is paid, how is it used?
The little that is paid. You see, we are discussing numbers now. If I want us to discuss numbers and discuss reality, how much money do you think the 4.8 people can pay?
You see,
no, I'm coming here.
Again,
it is not true.
This conversation is very interesting. Let me tell you.
Give me time and I explain.
4.8 million people, let me tell you. One company, for example, let me take you out of Uganda. You know a company called Microsoft. The kind of tax Microsoft pays to the United States government can be equals to an entire state of Missouri that does not have a branch of this company.
Exactly. True.
So you could have 4.5 million people who are running first-end class A businesses that are able to pay huge sums of money. Not everyone has to pay tax. In fact, in the tax law, they will tell you there is eligibility. If you do not, for example, if you're operating a shop in town and you do not have an annual turnover of 10 million shillings, you're not eligible to pay tax.
Oh, you see, Muliisa, I have not said that everyone should actually, he said, at any particular time, we pay taxes, right? But how much do we contribute to the taxes? What URA is doing is to increase its tax-based collection. That's what it is trying to do. The highest, if URA can contribute 50-something% or 70% to the national budget, and the rest of the money is borrowing or external funding, if I can use that word. And maybe you talk about grants which are even declining these days. You talk about donors who are even exiting. The URA has to find all means to increase its tax base. The issue I want us to discuss here today, and my brother here, and you asked me a question, is taxation fair in Uganda? It's fair, but such people are making it unfair. Because you see, sometimes we come here on the show, we speak as if we're angels, but we don't want to speak what we do in reality. None of us here, if we operated business, would wish to pay taxes. I'm telling you. You see, no, you see, Muliisa, let me tell you, this is civic space. We are discussing reality. If you got a chance and you say, I'm going to do URA, you even never show up your head because you don't want to pay. You want to make a lot of money and even make other businesses collapse. So now, this gentleman here and the lady here and myself, we are young people. If we got a chance to have businesses and we don't pay taxes, then this government is good. But if we had business and they're taxed, this government is doing us bad. We are paying taxes, heavy taxes. But when do we pay taxes? And why should we pay taxes? You asked me the issue of technology in this era. I understand and I agree with everyone and I concur with everyone that actually we have not reached a period where these countries appreciate the digital world. That one I agree. Even if you go deep down there where I come from, in villages, people don't know even smartphones and how they operate. What the URA should be doing, we have tax experts actually that have gone through schools. We have very many people who have knowledge about this. What I expect the URA to be doing is to have a team from URA being educated. Meet these people. You see, all traders in this country organized in the unions. That's why you have Kata, you have Futa, you have Kasita, everything. Take these people, go and meet such a body. Teach them how IFRIS or anything works. Why should we pay taxes and why do we need taxes? If these people within themselves, the Kata and so on, have their own people that actually they can reach out to the what? To the traders down there in Chikubo and somewhere else. Maybe these people that are from Kata within, the URA must be in a position to facilitate them, teach people why this is supposed to be paid. And also, it is not hard that actually we can fail to get people who can because this system, even if people not understand how it operates, but it is a gradual process. Someone may not understand it on the first sight. I'm coming. Then when you come to, I don't want us to look taxation and with so much focus in Kampala capital city. Let us also go beyond, like where it comes from in Rukunjiri. He knows that people pay taxes. Licenses that actually you talk about the licenses and the cases you're talking about, they are under the Local Government Act. They go there. And these taxes or licenses that are being licensed to the businesses provide service at district level. Even town councils have the same procedure. But the issue is, if URA can see that actually we have not reached this digital world, and how many people are supposed to pay VAT? Because if he's so much interested in VAT, which people are here? Okay, how many people are not educated? What should we provide them? What is the alternative? That could be a very better measure. But the issue where I have a problem is people wanting services and they are defiant on paying taxes.
Thank you
we
so
shall
much.
not be in that era.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, and to all of you, thank you so much for those amazing views, and thank you so much, viewers, for keeping with us. The Inter-University Debates takes a very short break, and we shall be right back.
Digital rights are those human rights and legal rights that allow individuals to access, use, create and publish digital media or to access and use computers, other electronic devices and telecommunication networks. Digital rights include a right to freedom of expression, information and communication through technology, a right to privacy and data protection, a right to credit for personal works, a right to universal and equal digital access, a right to identity, a right to anonymity, a right to be forgotten, and a right for protection of minors, among others. The state's digital rights are frequently violated through various unfair actions, for example, blockage of websites and social networks, theft of credentials, unauthorized use of people's data for personal gain, privacy intrusion, online censorship, arrests and intimidation of online users, internet blockages, and the proliferation of laws and regulations that undermine the potential of technology to drive social, economic, and political development worldwide. It is hence every citizen's responsibility to respect rights of other digital users and to speak out or report to the responsible parties when one's rights are violated.
Welcome back from that short break. It is the Inter-University Debates on Civic Space TV. I am Phillip Muliisa. Today, the conversation is about the impasse between Uganda Revenue Authority and traders in the capital city, but also broadly in the entire country, because taxes actually not only in the capital city, they are broadly in the entire country. And helping me in that conversation is a panel of distinguished young people. I have Godwin, I have Karungi, and I have Makana here, and they are really giving us amazing insights about the taxation and how people are paying taxes. And key to note is that actually many people do not want to pay taxes, but also to learn is that a tax is an investment. Now, coming back to the conversation, lady and gentlemen, we talk about, and where we left off, he did talk about how very many people will not be willing to pay taxes, if not everyone. I want to come to you, Karungi. There's something we call motivation to anything, or inspiration. For people to put out money from their pocket, something must inspire them. And a few weeks ago or months ago, we had a couple of things that were running in the country. We started with something that was called the Kampala Porthole Exhibition on X, and it did say something about our taxes. Then there was something called Uganda Health Exhibition, Uganda, did we have education exhibition, something like that. Then recently we had Uganda Parliament exhibition. And why do I point out this? They spoke to something called expenditure and priority by government. We saw the state of our roads, and we see them every day because we travel on these roads. We look at our schools, we look at our health facilities. You go to these places and there is no medicine, and maybe there is no doctor, a doctor is striking. Recently we saw a situation where intern doctors could not be deployed for 2 years. About Parliament, we saw how people are sharing money in millions and billions, hundreds, and those are taxes. And you see why I say this is, some of the money could have come through loans, they could not be taxes. Some of the monies could have come through grants, but again it's money that belongs to Ugandans. And if it's a loan, these Ugandans are supposed to pay back this money. When you get into these offices and people are simply sharing the money for personal gain, and actually nothing is done, how are these Ugandans going to be motivated to pay up more money to the same people that have been seen mismanaging the monies paid earlier?
Okay, thank you so much, Philip. As we already showed you that, as you already told us that in order for something to happen, someone needs a motivation or something that pushes them really to do that specific act. Earlier on, before we went for the break, he said people don't want to pay taxes. Personally, no one would really feel like paying taxes if they know at the end of the day the taxes they are paying are going to, this money is going to be swindled, it's going to be shared among specific groups of people. That doesn't really act or sound like a motivation to Ugandans to pay. Because in the first place, I will stick to it. It's an investment. The point in time when I go to hospital as a Ugandan or as a concerned citizen, and I find that if I'm to go to hospital, I have to pay a bribe to get a specific action to be taken. I have to pay a bribe to get a specific service. As of late, we have seen a lot. Uganda is one country that is still battling so much.
When you go to the hospital, you have to pay
a specific amount of money to gain a specific service. For example, these are hospitals that are government hospitals whereby I know I'm going to go there. They cater for a person who, a person from a very humble background. We all know that in Uganda we hold a capacity of different people from different backgrounds. Those who can't access a meal, 2 meals a day, those who can access one, even those who can't access any. But then what happens when you push them to the wall? You inflict this specific pain on them when they go. And now we are seeing different government individuals are sharing money between themselves. Where is this money coming from? We all know these are taxes that we are paying. But we all know that taxes we pay are supposed to be catering for specific services such as transport, health sector, education. If I take my child to school and I find like there are no laboratories, there are no libraries and all that, because we all wish the best for a specific number of people. Even when government claims that, yeah, their best wish is for Ugandans to live in a very harmonized community, in a community whereby they can access clean water, medication, and all that. Now, this is the reason as to why people do not pay taxes. In the first place, we can't ignore the fact that some of them are illiterate. As you already said, you cannot send him in a suit to go and educate a specific group of people down there deep in the village, because they would not really understand you. But at a point in time when you educate these specific groups of people, let's say the LC ones or the chairpersons of that specific community, because they understand the specific language that these people speak. But secondly, what we also ought to see that is, we need, as I already told you, there is an issue of accountability and transparency. The point in time when you're investing tuition, when your parents are giving you tuition, they expect something from you. Same as Ugandans, the government, let's say they're our parents, when we put in money for, let's say, taxation, we expect something out of them. But if they do not give it to us, let's say, this is why you're seeing people not paying it, because they know at the end of the day, I'm still going to travel on a road that is full of potholes. I'm going to go to hospitals whereby such specific services are not there. But those services are meant as are approved for when they're making a budget in the government. They're approved for. But when you come back deep here, it's not that people up there suffering, but someone down in a low capacity who is suffering in this sector. This is why now people are not going to be motivated. But if a point in time when now government is able to account for, okay, yes, URA has collected this specific amount of taxes in a specific period of time. They put it out there. We all have to embrace technology at the end of the day. This is why I will tell you they have to make things public for people to understand. At a point in time when someone from, let's say, deep down in the village, let's say Rukunjiri and all that, who doesn't watch TV and all that, but they know that, oh, I've paid taxes and this specific period of time, URA has released a document that we have gotten this specific amount of money and it is going to be put out there. How is it going to be done? We are going to work on roads, we are going to work on hospitals. Not just putting it just in theory, but also in practical level. And that means that Ugandans are going to be able to pay those taxes. But if they do not do that, then that is not going to happen.
Thank you. Kennedy, let's talk this money. When you look at the little we pay, like he says, it goes into the hands of people, some elected, others appointed, others, given job in any way. And these people have failed to manage this money well, at least from the basics. Corruption, money is released for a road and the road is never constructed. Money is released for a hospital, War Hospital. I was looking at the figures, 597 billion shillings released and there is nothing. Is it a question of leadership? Is it a question of failed patriotism? Is it a question of morals? What is the problem?
Well, let me take you back into history. When the 1986 class, I like calling it that, came into power, they came with the 10-point program, which is also enlisted in Mr. Museveni's mustard seed. They promised a lot to this country. However, few years down the road, Uganda has failed. We are at the cliff of becoming a failed state. And, it will be hurting if we would end up like Libya. Libya is now a failed state. And, it's all about, when the head is rotten, don't expect the other body parts to remain, intact. The head thinks for all these body parts, that's where the brain is. So when you find, like, for example, the PSST, Mr. Ramadan Ngovi, Secretary to the Treasury, recently, chopped, I would say, let me call it chop. He chopped half of the parliament's budget. You saw what happened?
He intended. At least for the record.
You know what happened at the floor of the parliament? The speaker herself was like, no, it's impossible. But what he did, and he's a mathematical genius, let me call him that. He calculated and realized that this money that he intended to cut off, the remaining half is enough to run the business of parliament. However, these people want, at the end of the day, they want to use back doors to have, illegal committees whereby they will say, Phillip, you've done a lot. 2.5 years, you take this 500 million, you know. It's yours, just, you know, for the work you've done. So this is what we are grappling with, and that's why citizens no longer trust the system, Ugandan system. Just like he said that we all don't want to pay taxes. Well, nobody would like to pay taxes, yes. But now, why would I pay taxes when the road I'm using has potholes?
First pay.
When
you don't complain.
we are paying taxes, even if I don't.
You see,
even if I don't.
On your issue, you see, Makana, I've always told you that we needed to be very honest.
Exactly.
In that issue of the parliament, you have your members of opposition there. Did anyone come up and supported the PPST proposal?
You know.
Yes or no?
First and foremost.
No, yes or no?
Godwin, before being members.
And I know you're staunch support of FDC. I'm asking questions.
Before being,
listen, I didn't see Uganda coming on the floor of parliament and saying, I support what Ramadan Gobi is saying. Every parliamentarian was, whether you're NRM, whether you're DP, whether you're FDC, all of them, they were not happy with the
Godwin,
so what are you advising?
Before becoming members of parliament.
Do you want to tell us that even your MPs you have lost hope in?
These people are humans. These people are humans.
Kennedy, if you allow me, when we move out of this country, Uganda, and go, say, to the United Kingdom, their taxation rate is very high. But what happens? Their kids, they have a functional national health service system where you go to any hospital on any day, provided you're a British citizen, and you get attention, whichever kind of attention. They have a functional educational system paid for by government. They have a functional infrastructure system, trains and roads and everything. It is available. The question in my country is, people are paying this money. Dear government, you are borrowing money. Dear government, you're getting this grant. And the hospitals are not functional to the standard. The schools are not functional to the standard. Recently, you could have heard, all of you, when the Minister of Education was releasing the primary leaving examination result. She did say something that I consider very sad and unfortunate from government, to say that government cannot trace over 1 million pupils. Now, when you say you cannot trace as government, it's worrisome for the country. Where are these people? Because I understand when I go to a school, baby class, you take my details, you take the details of my parent, you take their contacts, you take everything. How come you cannot trace them with all this data? But what I'm trying to say is, the application of these taxes, and I want to involve you, Godwin, priorities. Where are we putting this money? When you look at the budget of the presidency, you look at the budget of the military, and you look at the budget of agriculture, and the budget of education, and in that education, what again is being budgeted for? Is it construction of schools? Is it recruitment of teachers? Or is it just salaries and paying big salaries to senior officials? What is being budgeted for in the Ministry of Health, in the Ministry of Defense? The priorities we take with our taxes, are they the best?
I think we needed to, one, this debate we needed to be almost above the sea level. Let us not discuss things. I've always agreed with some principles with this man and disagreed. He talked about, I will come to your question, he talked about Libya being a failed state and saying Uganda is going to be a failed state. And I want, if he followed clearly what was Libya then, and what was the issue of Libyans trying to outsit Gaddafi, Colonel Gaddafi the late. Was it the issue that they had no services? That was not the issue. And Libya then, which country, it had almost everything. Almost everything. For it to become a failed state now, it's us Africans who think that someone can come and think better for you, and for us we can't think better for ourselves. They said he's a dictator, let him go, people plundered the whole country, wars came in, USA intervened, everything. Now it is a failed state, where Uganda is not. Now, to your question, you use the example of United Kingdom. And you see, the problem is that, Muliisa yourself, if you can tell me how many years did it take for United Kingdom to be where it is? And how old is Uganda?
We are 62.
We are 62.
It's taken the United Kingdom hundreds of years.
Very good. It has taken 100 years to United Kingdom to be where it is. For us, we are 62. 62 years. 62 years where we have reached, we cannot start comparing us with someone who is 100 years into the struggle. I'm coming.
I can compare it to Rwanda. See Rwanda.
You see,
Rwanda is a small country.
Now,
and you know the things that I've been through.
Discuss Rwanda when you have ever gone there, because I have statistics of Rwanda.
I've been to Rwanda.
You discuss it.
I've been to Rwanda. Rwanda is a
Take
clean
notes
country.
when
They
you're
have the
speaking.
best-
Take notes. Take notes. Take notes.
Okay, please.
Take notes.
You may
The Rwanda you're talking about has 14 million people. The Rwanda you're talking about, has 14 million people. The Rwanda you're talking about, where does it get its what? Its sources of income.
So
The Rwanda, I'm coming. Let me answer this gentleman. I've ever gone to Rwanda. I know Rwanda, what you're talking about. Let us not discuss Rwanda and discuss the roads in Kigali and you think that's the best.
Allow me on
You
this.
go and discuss the per capita income. Go and discuss how many people in the villages take 2 meals per day. Don't discuss a building. Don't discuss a road.
But
Listen.
people are dying in ambulances because
Do you
these
know how many
ambulances
people are
are
dying
hitting
down there in
potholes.
Rwanda because of
They're hitting
hunger?
at least their capital city is seeable. We've seen it.
We are
in
not discussing
pictures.
capital city. We are above the sea
Okay,
level. The
gentlemen,
debate is not about the
gentlemen,
capital city.
Allow me to take back this one. Let me give you the basic of why. For example,
Let me first answer your
the
question.
example-
I got it. I was trying to show you where.
This information
Around me.
helps in that point.
Okay.
The reason I bring UK on board, you say they have used hundreds of years.
Yes.
We are 62.
Yes.
But the common factor is the times we are living in. We are living in in the what do we call it? Times of globalization, where we share common basic things. We share technology, we share information, we share resources, we share. There are things you can easily pull over. The United Kingdom was, say, a trailblazer nation. They were trying to initiate whatever they were doing. Today, we have examples we can even look at and say, oh, these people have done it this way. What if we did it this way? Couldn't it work for us? These people have gone this straight. Okay, in leadership, they have avoided corruption and it has helped them. How about we avoid it? Can't it help us? They have tried to invest in the education.
You see, Muliisa,
Yes.
us being in the times of globalization, it does not mean that all of us, all of us are affected the same. That's the truth. If we have really followed up globalization, for example, I'm going to use USA. The time USA was in an agreement with is it Austria? Yes. Then, because USA, it was way above Austria and everything. And the workers were coming from Austria to come and join USA and do the jobs they were underpaid. This is globalization. We're struggling with it. But again, don't think that the challenges that the globalization that United Kingdom is going to face will be the same that Uganda is going to face. Definitely, there will be a line. Me and you being of the same age bracket doesn't mean that we get the same problems. It doesn't. It is not that. And us having the second.
I agree with you.
I think I was. Let me first finish my point.
Please.
The issue of saying that Ugandans are paying taxes, we are getting this money, is it used? What are the priorities of the government? That was the question you asked about. I understand. I have not refuted the fact that we have loopholes in sectors. But these loopholes, we cannot answer them vehemently or the same time we come and say, okay, we are going to do this. It is a process. And I know what is killing most of us is corruption. And corruption is with everyone. Everyone here in this room is corrupt. And the challenge the government is facing, even if it tries to do something better that is seen, corrupt people will come and maybe and take this money. And maybe some will not even be apprehended. And maybe some people will not take it to be serious. I'm going to give you an example where I come from. I'm going to use a live example. I don't know if I come from Chotera.
Okay.
It borders Tanzania and Uganda. We have, in the 2021 elections, the current MP of our constituency, Kakuto County, is this musician, Rutaya, Jeffrey Rutaya, Honorable. He said the problem we have had is NRM. Now let us outsit the NRM member of parliament and I come and we change everything. And he used his slogan was Majega Kutaka. So he won. We just give him time. We're making a trace. We're seeing what is taking place. The schools that were there, they are still there. The hospitals, still there. But all these people that they cry to, I've seen people who have visited those schools. The Prime Minister has gone there. The Minister of Health has ever gone there. The schools have been inspected. But now the problem we have, even we, the citizens of this country, even when we receive the government services, or even something is put at our disposal, we don't use it the way it's supposed to be used. I'm going to be very clear. We have people around in the village who connect with a certain head teacher and sold the land of a primary school. And people who bought that land, they know it's a government land, it's for the school of government, it's for the benefit of society. The same people that bought that land. The government is struggling to say, you bought this land, wrongly this land belongs to the school, and it's a government land. Now, you ask yourself, sometimes I sit down and say, wow, as well as people say NRM is doing a lot of mistakes. But even those best things that we citizens should try to fight for, we are failed to do so.
Please allow me engaging on that example.
I'm coming to this. Let me finish this.
Okay.
You go to health centers, the hospitals. A citizen goes there, buys medicine. This is live example, by the way. A citizen goes there, is the chairman LC1, and you see these LC1s have powers. They're respected at the village level. Goes to to the health center, talks to the nurse, is given a box of coatam, and sells it to the what? To the clinics. And he brings them, and he has a shop of coatam. The question I ask myself, you as people, and these people come and buy from the LC1, they know this is government medicine. Which people you can't report? Why don't you say that Chairman LC1 is selling medicine and this is illegal? You see, sometimes the onus is upon us. We citizens, as well as understand we have mistakes we have made as government, but also as citizens, some things if are brought to disposal. We need to be very clear.
And you have that
Yes. I'm telling you this. Me, I've complained about it, and you know some people are no longer selling that medicine. Right? But, for example, we have seen people trying to go to the electric poles and steal all those wires. Then, really, what do you want the government to do? You want us to start shooting people, stealing the wires? People are saying we want rural electrification. The government is saying, okay, we are starting, this is how the process is. At the same time, the same people who are saying we want rural electrification, the same people stealing the wires. So I think what we lack as the citizens as a whole, before even blame the government, is what they call national character.
Godwin,
We don't have national character in us.
I want you to agree with me, yes. Where is that national character going to come from? It is the mandate of government.
No, who is government? Muliisa, we go wrong. Who is government? The government is not Museveni. The government is not the parliament. The government is not the government is me. Your government yourself.
Listen, it is duty of government to make sure citizens have a good livelihood.
But when you violate it, the citizens are violating the livelihood.
The of government is a group of people who have been entrusted with power to run the affairs of a state.
I know.
And there is that group of people.
You see, that's where you're going wrong. When you're talking about the government, don't center so much into the executive, don't center so much into the parliament or the judiciary or elsewhere. The government, when you explain what is government, all of us, we are part of government, by the way. Whether you're opposition, whether you what, leave this politics. Leave this politics of just saying, this government, as if they are not belonging to that government.
But there are levels of being involved.
Now let us discuss levels. I don't want to exclude ourselves from government. Let's discuss levels.
There are pillars of government, and there are people who are part of government as partners and as associates.
So now, are you a partner or associate?
Those are citizens. Do you agree there is a team of people that is mandated to run the affairs of Uganda?
Yes.
What do you call them?
That's not government.
What is it?
You see, let me give an example. We have a state and a government,
Please,
right?
please.
Listen,
I'm listening.
we have a state and a government.
What's the difference?
You please listen.
Please tell us
Take
the
notes.
difference.
You see, we have the state and the government, right? You understand? And like I've said, we have levels of government where people come. We have partners, associates, and even people who are there within. The issue, I agree that we have executive, we have the parliament, of the judiciary, and those are organs of the government. I agree. I don't disagree with that. But also I don't want us to debate the issue and say that we citizens, because I'm Godwin, I'm not part of executive, I'm not part of legislature, I'm not part of judiciary, I'm not part of government. Right? There's no law that bars me to be that I'm not part of government. The only thing that those people do, they have laws. No. They have laws that they're supposed to implement. For them, they're implementing.
Police is part of government.
They're implementing. Listen.
The police is part of government.
You see, you give me time.
I have given you time, and I want us to understand each other because of the.
I'm explaining this.
I have to manage this with a reflection of time in my mind.
You say reflection of time in my mind. You not get my answer that I want.
Time, and I want us to agree quickly.
We are not going to agree because you're shifting debates.
Police is part of government.
Let's first agree with the debate before you shift to police. Do you agree that you're part of government?
Yes. I
Very
agree
good.
with
Then
that.
now you can bring your police.
So I'm asking.
Bring your
Police
police.
is government. Police is part of government.
It is part of internal affairs. It's okay, I know. Yes, it is
You are
government.
part of government.
Yes, I am.
You are again part of internal affairs. Do you have mandate to arrest this one in case she committed a corruption?
I have mandate to report.
Do you have mandate to
I
arrest
don't.
her? Do you agree there is someone with authority, lawfully, who is supposed to do that?
Yes, I know that. It is
Do
there.
you agree there is a group of people who have contracted with Ugandans to make sure Ugandans have good roads, have good schools, have good hospitals, have jobs, have good health? Do you agree?
Yes.
Thank you. I want to tell you,
Are you telling me
the
asking
moment
me the
you
question?
have that group of people, there are certain things they're supposed to do. When you go to Kakuto, did you say Kakuto? Chotera, that constituency you mentioned, there are bad schools, there is someone responsible. There are bad hospitals, there is someone responsible. There is a budget that is supposed to come there. And the moment that budget is not there and was passed from the top, then there must be someone held accountable. That is my point.
You see your point. The point you're making, actually, you're coming to, for you're discussing, you think what you think is supposed to be done, but you're not discussing the season part. That is okay, I understand. But in a situation where that person is not reported to be arrested by the so-called authority, you're talking about the police, the military, and everything, how do you want the police, maybe someone, because we the citizens, that we are the people that interact with each other freely. I don't think that everyone is going to interact with the police and is going to, the police is there to see what is this, what is this. The police comes in a situation, or even military, where the case is reported. We have not had, I want to see a strike in this country, in certain part of Uganda, maybe like where it comes from. People striking, saying that, you see, this government, tomorrow we are not sending our students back to the school, to the UP schools, because the teachers are doing so, and then the government fails to respond. I have not seen that. What the teachers are striking for,
Okay,
we
please,
want more salaries.
Let me take this with an example as I get to her. There are Ugandans that were striking in Kampala here when we had what was later named the Mabati saga. Some Ugandans were striking about that incident in Kampala.
Yes, they
and
did.
They were arrested. The people demonstrating were arrested.
Yes, they were
and
arrested.
The people who mismanaged the Mabati were not arrested.
They were
But
arrested.
That is debate for
You don't know the people that were arrested.
Please,
you know
please allow
them.
me.
You know them. You
Was
know
that
them.
the complete
You know
list?
them.
Was that the complete
Allow
list?
me.
If the
Should I
list
send
you
you the
have,
list on
the list you have is an
Gentlemen,
allegation.
An allegation
Everyone
with
went.
facts.
Those who are
I,
found guilty, they were taken to
Kennedy
courts of
and
law,
Godwin.
and 2 ministers were dropped
Kennedy and Godwin.
from the recent reshuffle.
Godwin,
You see, we don't need to be
Godwin.
misguided here.
Please allow me to take on this. Karungi, I feel for you sitting in between these ladies, but also these gentlemen. But I appreciate the fact that you are able to act as a coolant in between there, because by now we could have had fists flying over us. So talk to me. When you look at where we are as a country, people seem frustrated when you go on the socials, when you go on the streets, you randomly ask an Ugandan, including Godwin, including Kennedy, including yourself, they'll say something is not working out right. Yes, we will pay taxes. Yes, there was a budget recently for teaching people how to be patriots and another budget for mindset change. Very good things. I don't know how it will be implemented. I want to ask, in your view, with these many wrongs, how can we forge a better system, a better way of doing things for this country?
Okay, thank you so much, Philip. The best way for now, I feel like already, as we already told you, there are specific bodies with authority. Everyone can't have the authority to do something. And by the virtue of that, personally, I'm a citizen, but I don't have the obligation to arrest him. I don't have the obligation to do things that the military would do or the government would do. And secondly, I feel like me being a citizen, the only obligation I have is to maybe see something wrong and report it. But then the biggest issue is, even when you report, is the action going to be taken? The people you're reporting to, let's say you're reporting to police, this is one sector that is actually more corrupt. Because at a point in time when I'm going to report for him maybe being corrupt, he's going to come and give this gentleman money and it will just disappear like that. How many cases have been reported to, let's say, the police and have not been handled? But they are still there patiently waiting. So as a citizen, the biggest role we have to do is, we shall be the informants, but we do not have that mandate or obligation to do something. As he says that we really don't have to wait for, government shouldn't really have to wait for a strike for it to know its responsibilities or its duty. And to, let's say, kind of contradict them, there is no harm in comparing a country to a country that is way better than it. Because we all learn. You see, if in a family, if a child does something wrong, the biggest blame will go to a parent. So this is why we tell you that in Uganda, even when citizens have done something wrong, the government at the end of the day will be the biggest body to blame. Connecting it back to issue of taxes. Yes, you may educate these people to, let's say, pay taxes, and they comply at the end of the day, because this is what we are meant to do, to actually comply. If we fail to comply, certain measures are going to be taken. But when they are taken up there to, let's say, the government bodies, yes, the issue or that bet is about who the government is. This is why we have representatives from each district. These are the MPs. You find you have an MP from each district representing a specific group of people. You have a youth MP, you have let's say I come from Fort Poto, there is someone there to represent the people from Fort Poto. And it is their obligation to come back down to us and ask us, what is the issue? What is happening? But then even when people feel frustrated, because even when they complain, there is nothing going to be done. As they have a set of priorities they are going to consider. They are going to tell you, oh, we are going to handle this issue. We have tabled this issue, but we are going to handle maybe the health sector first. The health sector will be handled, but then they leave these other issues to pending, and they never come back to tackle them. And the moment, at a point in time when now these MPs have already finished serving their, let's say, term of offices in these specific parliament venues, then that means whatever he or she tabled, this other person who's going to, let's say, if he or she doesn't get chance of coming back and we get someone new, then that means whatever he tabled that, oh, people from Poto, people from Rukunjiri are suffering, let's say, because they don't have hospitals there, then that means the other person going to come back is going to come back and start from zero. Because why? This is something that is totally different. The other one has gone. And to argue the issue of how they have been arguing about things that are happening, you see, the biggest issue I want fear to say is still corruption. At a point in time when they table, we have opposition. It is to oppose. Its goal is, part of its goal is to oppose things they feel are not okay, or are not going to be in the best interest of the citizens. What then happens is they are going to reach there and also be fed on this specific disease that is actually killing the country, and that is corruption. Let's say they will table a bill to be passed. But because I'm on opposition, and let's say the NRM, that's the ruling party, has put their money, none of them is going to stand up and be like, oh, I do not want this money.
If you allow me, we keep talking about this corruption, but what actually causes it?
What
Is it
causes
morals?
corruptions?
Is it greed? Is it
Yeah.
failed kind of patriotism and statesmanship? What
You
is
see,
the cause of
the
this?
issue of patriotism would become an issue, but actually Ugandans love their country. That is one thing I know about the citizens. They love their country, but the only thing that is letting them down is the people we send out there. I may look so innocent right now, but the moment I'm put up there, if you do not have those moral obligations or that value in you to serve the state or to serve your people, then that means you're also going to reach there and, let's say, be affected by this specific disease, let's say this corruption. Why it happens is because people have a lot of greed for money. Even the money that they get, they feel it is not enough. So this is why I would disagree on his point of the opposition side. These are people who still want the money. There is not at any point whereby they're going to come and be like, in order for this bill to be passed, yes, you're the opposition, but what we need is we are going to give you, let's say, 20M for you to accept this bill. This person in the opposition side won't refuse because this person needs the money at the end of the day. But then what effect does it have? It does not affect, you see that decisions that they make do not affect them up there. These decisions affect the person from the lower community. This is me and you, the citizens. So what can only be done is to learn that moral obligation or that value to be accountable and have that transparency. That I know if me, Sharon, I'm going to report that, yes, I've gone to hospital and in order to get medication or to get a specific service, they have told me to pay this specific amount of people. And if I've reported, has it really been taken into action? Has it been worked upon? That is the issue. As he claims that, yes, they have sold land, but if he was to report, is his issue going to be sorted immediately? So if all that happens, then that means his citizens are going to be less frustrated because they know if anything happens, the government is ready to come in for them and step in for them.
Thank you so much. Kennedy, we talk about these things, but it all rotates around leadership. And earlier you did mention how we have low quality leadership and the leadership is not good. In your view, how then do we get the right people in the right positions, the people that are not going to be blackmailed, like she says, that are not going to be bought off, the people that are not going to be given all such kinds of incentives to make them go against their values? How do we get them in these positions?
Well, first I would say we need a change of government. And not just any change of government, we need to return the power of this country to the citizens.
Well, I thought you were going to say we need a fundamental change.
Well, we need to return the authority and power of this country to its citizens, just as the Constitution says, before it was tampered actually, how it used to say. But before, allow me, Mr. Moderator, pose a question to my brother Godwin to tell us the difference between a state and a government. He said that everyone here is okay, I'm a government, I'm part of the government, yes. But I'd like him to tell us the difference between a state and a government.
I'll answer during my time, so that you don't interrupt me during my time.
Well, I would say this regime has failed its citizens, and you know, we have a National Planning Authority, which is led by the Busoga Premier, that is Dr. Joseph Muvawala. They come with, they make documents, they make policies, they make research. But then, when the things are tabled out, you realize that the research they made ain't, doesn't equate. For example, the OTT tax. By then, Minister for Communication, Honorable Frank Tumwebaze, came out and said that, as government, we thought the thing would work out, but then, along the way, we realized again, the thing ain't working out. As in, these people made research. What does this show you? It shows you that we lack serious leadership. But
you see, Kennedy, you must agree that oftentimes policies might be good for a particular kind of time, but later not good. Or, as human beings, we could easily take the wrong option, and there is always time to correct.
You know the problem with this country, Philip, and you'll agree with me, we are all looking for bread for our own families. At the end of the day, you'll be like, it's me and my family. So you'll give us this policy, table it, because at the end of the day, you know, you're given some little money to, you know, to pass the thing.
Thank you. Godwin, briefly, I want you to be very brief. Our time is really fast spent. How do we correct the loopholes you talked about? How do we get to help these traders that are striking? How do we get to help Ugandans that need the help? The Ugandans in Chotera whose land is sold, whose schools are not at standard, whose hospitals, whose member of parliament, even when it is not his mandate, thought he would change the things there.
One thing we need to shift the debate of corruption to the kind of, to the government, the president, and like he was saying, because even the government wants to change the person he is fronting, he was part of this government and is still part of this government, and we appreciate for his contribution, and he is still doing so. And what we need, the only issue we have, and when I'm discussing corruption, I discuss it wholesomely. I don't look which party what. I discuss it because corruption doesn't determine which person is in which party. What we need as citizens, we need to have the trait of having national character in yourself. Know that this thing belongs to me. It is not necessary for Makana to come and take over, or Muliisa. It also belongs to me. I have to stand by it and protect it. The problem I've found is that we discuss things on air, like on TV and everywhere in radios and even right on our socials, but we do contrary. As soon as we leave this room, some of us are going to again go into the issue of corruption.
And my interest is,
and what the country does is that currently the issue of Uganda is not all about the change of the president or the change of the speaker or the change of the MP of parliament. The problem of the country is us standing up together and fight corruption. How do we do that? We need to first, the issue of politics, the issue of corruption, what is not becoming to the end, is that people have politicized corruption so much, by the way. You talk about corruption, people look at NRM, but also we have people who are corrupt in FDC. We talk about corruption, people look at Museveni. We have corrupt people like he follows them. We talk about corruption, people are going to castigate the government. But corruption is within even someone who is in the village is doing corruption. I don't know if he receives a call from a minister or the president that you do corruption. And I don't want this narrative of saying that, you see, we run from the president. What do you run from the president? You run to do bad. If your parent is a thief, doesn't mean you should also be a thief. Unless you find them that you're insane. Let us not prove to the world that actually we don't have the aim for this country.
Maybe there is something I know called role modeling and being inspired. If you are my role model, I want to do the things you do. And if you do them the wrong way, then certainly
not all of them.
pulled that way.
Not all of them. You see,
that's why I said
I can disclose one of the people that I used to, like the late Jacob Boranya used. That's like how he used to rule the house. But to some extent, he would go extreme and maybe arrest some MPs, and I was not happy with it. So there's some things you borrow and others you don't. So as people, and I'm talking about, let me talk about young people maybe. Because this is so much now in us, young people. Because these old people, like the president and his grandfather, very soon they are going to be out of this country. So what we need is to have a vision for this country. The vision of this country is having it, what we're debating in this country is economic liberation. And for us to have it, we must fight corruption. And for us to fight corruption, we must have corrective measure and avoid politicizing and coloring everything in terms of corruption. If you're talking about corruption, let us not discuss NRM, let us not discuss any POFD or any other party. Let us discuss corruption wholesomely and stand together and say, as young people, This is our liberation we are fronting. The then president, His Excellency Museveni and Kizza Besigye and the rest, their liberation was about political answer to this country, which they achieved. But now for us, we need to achieve economic liberation. And for us to achieve it, if we don't fight corruption and put our boots on and say not corruption, not just saying, but even practicing, and you see someone doing corruption, arrest him or report him. You yourself, if I'm Godwin, is Makana and Muliisa, also avoid indulging yourself into the issues of corruption.
Do you see us getting committed to that cause as young people?
Yes, we can, because we can. Yeah, we can.
Thank you. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, our time is very, very fast spent. I will give a minute to each of you to give your final remarks about the topic, but also detail a bit of what you'd want to share with the country. In a minute, I'll start with you, Kennedy.
Well, first, it's so heartbreaking that the corruption of this country is held by and supported by the regime and Mr. Museveni, whereby this country is led by his family. However, as the liberation base at Katonga, we shall continue seeking for ways to liberate this country through non-electoral processes, because the electoral process of this country has been tampered over the years. Those who have been around have seen it.
Do you mind sharing with us a little detail about the non-electoral processes?
Well, defiance has always been the answer. But we don't believe in violence. We don't believe in violence. And that's why over time you've seen citizens of goodwill, those that are hurt, on the streets with placards, and they're arrested. Yet it's every citizen's right to go on the street as long as he or she is not violent and demonstrate.
Thank you.
So we want to assure the country and citizens out there that this country will be liberated one day, and continue where need be, call for dialogues, and but we are sure. Thank you very much.
Can I meet your team and you dialogue?
Briefly, just a straight answer. Do you think the national dialogue and reconciliation will be of help in the challenges we have as a country? A yes or a no?
He's not sure.
Well, I don't believe in the national dialogue.
Then why are you calling for it?
Godwin.
For those that can.
Godwin, in a minute, your final remarks.
To our viewers, I want to conclude by saying this, that actually the country is already liberated. We don't need more liberation, like he's claiming. And Katonga, like he's talking about, is just trying to have a new political party, and I wish them well. We meet in the circles of politics and compete, and whoever will win, we shall wish him well. But on terms of let us all pay taxes, where you have issues, we can maybe write and inquire from URA and even petition to the parliament and be cognizant of what we're supposed to do. But also to make this clear, let's all be healthy. We have an issue of red eyes. I think it is ongoing. Let's not shake hands. Let's go back to the COVID wave and proceed. Otherwise, I've been delighted to be part of this conversation.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your views. And last word on the show is from the only lady. And by the way, for our viewers, as usual, we have a lady on set, but also a couple of other ladies behind the machine. So Civic Space TV does a good job in recognizing ladies and what they can do. Yes, Karungi.
Okay, thank you so much, Phillip. First of all, I'm humbled to be here. This was really a good experience and a good debate. But to our viewers out there, as this has been a debate over taxation, which after diverted to corruption and everything, let's not be hesitant on paying taxes. They are really beneficial to our community, our society, and our country at large. But then secondly, let's be forefronters of things that are not good. Let's go out there, report. Do your duty as a citizen. Let the government do its part. For the government bodies who will watch this or listen to this, let's be transparent and have that moral obligation to be accountable. But then also, let's learn how to do things that are in the right way. So at a point in time when we are put out there to forefront, for the young viewers, this is our time. this current generation is filled with the youth. So the youth can do a big role in, yes, not deliberating, not liberating the country, but they have a bigger say in things that need to be changed in the country. And yeah, wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Karungi. This is your time as young people, she says, and please make good use of it. But also, citizens, she reminds you that you have a duty to pay taxes because government needs them to make sure this country is running and is running well. Thank you so much, Karungi, for those views, and thank you so much for sparing time to be with us today. Godwin, thank you so much for the amazing views. Thank you so much for loving your country, and thank you so much for being with us today. And Kennedy, Makana, thank you so much for those amazing views. We look forward to see what that liberation from Katonga holds for this country, and thank you so much for being with us today. And to you, our viewers, thank you so much for being with us. It is the Inter-University Debates on Civic Space TV. Remember, this is made possible by the Center for Constitutional Governance. Special thanks to the people behind the machines. I have a couple of them. I have Ronald, I have Brittany, I have Paul. These are all Ugandans. The names shouldn't scare you. Special thanks to everyone that contributes to the happenings here. Special thanks to me as well as your host today. And I want to say Civic Space TV and the entire Uganda continues to pray for peace, to seek peace, to want peace in the regions of Sudan, in the regions of the DRC, in Gaza, in Ukraine, in Chad, in Libya, in Mozambique, in Niger, in Burkina Faso, in Mali, and wherever there is that there is no peace. We want peace, and it's the only way we can have a sustainable humanity and living. Thank you so much, and we say good evening, and may you have freedom.